Ladies and gentlemen, welcome once again to the Packernet Podcast. I am your host and resident fanalist, as always, Ryan Schlipp. Check us out online, packernet.com. Find me on Twitter, pack_data. Well, you know what the plan is supposed to be, and I told you there's not going to be any ranty, laughing at the enemy stuff today, but I don't know, man. A lot of stuff just popped up out of nowhere. Remember how I told you it just kind of depends what's been bubbling up? And honestly, and maybe this is going to work to your guys' benefit, much more angry, hostile, ranty podcast. It just so happened that yesterday and this morning, I happen to be a little testy, and things are kind of annoying me. I'm in like hour 36 of a fast right now, so, and I'm going to try to not eat until like noon, 1 o'clock or something. I don't know how many hours that is, but that's when I need to eat, so. Little testy, I suppose you could say. And I'm planning on doing this like 3 times a week, so there might be a good amount of this. There's no particular order here. I'm just going to go through a list of things. There are some NFC North type stuff, but let me get the Packer stuff out of the way first. Let's you and I do some battle real quick, because it's on the forefront of my mind. I'm in the midst of an argument as we speak, or arguments as we speak, so let's go ahead and do it. Well, let's just start with this. It's not really a ranty thing. It's just kind of a point that I guess is worth mentioning. I saw this argument going on, and I figured I'd kind of jump in the middle of it because it's interesting. Notions of Jacob on social media says, I hope Aaron Rodgers plays like crap and the Packers blow out the Steelers. Very weird seeing people root for him to play well. Like, are you guys actually Packer fans? That was just commented on a pretty basic, like, Packer-Steelers coming up, right? So he obviously read the comments and saw a lot of, like, Packer fans hoping Rodgers has a good day and all that, and he's like, what the heck are you doing? Then somebody by the name of, very appropriately, Vintage Aaron Rodgers, or Vintage A-Rod is his handle, says, clown, at least root for Rodgers to play well with the Packers winning. I don't think you can be a real Packers fan and hope for Aaron Rodgers to fail. Now, obviously, just leaving that aside, it's pretty obvious what side of the conversation I would fall on here. I think that's absurd. You got one guy saying root for the Packers, you got another guy saying root for Rodgers, and I have to decide which one is being a Packers fan. I can't be a Packers fan without rooting for the quarterback of the Steelers? Okay, well, maybe. Yeah, I don't know. But here's how I settled this, just so we're clear. Just in case there's any tension for you or anybody else, or if you want to know where I think you fall on this. Very simple. You could take the whole conversation of, well, ideally Rodgers plays well, and also we win. Okay, let's back it up, though. Let's start today, right now. We don't know who's going to win. We don't know what's going to happen, but you got 2 different buttons sitting on your desk. One says Rodgers plays well, and one says Rodgers plays poorly. Which one are you going to push? Obviously, the better Rodgers plays, the more likely it is we lose. The worse he plays, the more likely it is we win. That's very obvious and inherent in this whole conversation. So don't try to weasel around it, or I would have a third button. No, you don't get a third button. This is my game. You play my game. There is no third button. There is no third option, which, hilarious, every time somebody says there's a third option, they say something that doesn't even make any sense. Like, bro, that's the second button, genius. Stop trying to sound smart. If you would push the button that has Aaron Rodgers playing poorly, you would do that because you know it means it's going to give us a better chance of winning. If you push the one that says, I want Rodgers to play better, then you are choosing Rodgers over your team. Yes, there is a chance that you could get your way, but it's a question of priorities. All right, Rodgers could play poorly and we could lose. That's entirely possible. But again, we don't know. All we know is that one button gives us a better chance to win and one button gives us a better chance to lose. Conversely, the exact opposite is true of Aaron Rodgers. One makes him look better and one makes him look worse. So it's a question of which one you prioritize. Do you prioritize Rodgers or do you prioritize the Packers? And I'm telling you right now, if you pick the button that says Rodgers plays well, you are choosing to prioritize Rodgers over the Packers. That's the reality. So it's just a fandom check. I had somebody comment and were like, oh, how dare you tell people how to fan? Bro, I'm not telling you how to fan. I'm just telling you that this is revealing how you fan. You choose whatever if you want to fan by being a Rodgers fanboy. I'm not saying you can't do that. I'm just telling you, you have to pick. I'm not saying it can't be painful. You know, you desperately love Rodgers and you want him to succeed. And assuming the Packers don't win, you want him to win a Super Bowl. You want him to win every game except this game again. Like you can do all of those things, and many people have commented that. And I'm not saying it can't be a painful button press, but you had better pick the Packers if you want to say that you're a Packers fan above a Rodgers fan. If you don't, fine. Again, yeah, fan how you want to fan, all that stuff, great. But this isn't telling you what to do. It's revealing what you do. That's all it is. I know that's a couple of weeks out. Somebody's like, why are you talking? I'm like, I don't know, dude. I saw the argument. I figured I'd jump in on it. I'm sure it's going to be a big thing next week. In fact, I know it's going to be a big thing because we're already fighting about it a week before it's even here. So, yeah, that's going to be a thing. Here's a different one. And there's a lot of stuff going on with Christian Watson's dad, and a lot of people are getting annoyed with him. And I'll be honest, I haven't really been keeping up on everything that's going on. He's been just hammering people, and I'm seeing a lot of people coming out and being like, all right, I think I've had enough of Christian Watson's dad here. I don't have a position on what he's saying because, again, I haven't really been reading it all. What I do know is that obviously anytime I know the crux of it. I shouldn't say I know, but what I've noticed is it seems to be a lot of, you know, Golden is the guy and he needs to be the number one guy, and Christian Watson's dad's like, shut up. Right? I mean, he's much more articulate than that, but, you know, look, anytime, and I'm not saying he's wrong, but anytime somebody's going to come out and put somebody ahead of Watson, there's going to be a little bit of pushback. But let me get you to the crux of what annoys me, because this conversation has kind of evolved. It's gone from Golden should be our number one wide receiver to Tazim Wajed, however you say his name. Christian Watson's dad is what I prefer to call him, because I don't know how to say that. It's evolved into a discussion of, well, we can't have a wide receiver one because of Matt LaFleur. Let me just read this post here. And this is also why people are getting annoyed, because he can be a little hostile, which I understand. I tend to talk like this too, so I can't talk trash. He says, are you all just dumb or stupid? Which is... I think, isn't there a rap song that says something like that? It's just a funny way to put it, because it's obviously you're choosing between the same thing. Maybe one is one. I'm going to ask the robot, which one's worse, dumb or stupid? It's probably stupid. No, here's one. Who has the lower IQ, the dumb guy or the stupid one? Dumb originally meant mute, over time lacking knowledge or understanding, often used for somebody who doesn't know better, ignorance rather than inability. Stupid goes a step deeper. Inability to think clearly or reason well. So yeah, stupid is worse. This is how my freaking brain works. It's not meant to be that deep, but I got to make it that deep because I find it interesting. All right, here we go. Are you all just dumb or stupid? Unless you change the play caller, you can bring whatever wide receiver you want to bring to Green Bay, and he will get the same opportunities to catch the ball as the ones who have already been there since A-Rod left. Some of you are going to be looking stupid as poop as soon as the Packers decide who they're going to let hit free agency. Then they go to teams that actually throw the darn ball to them, and they will go crazy, especially if it's Wicks. But there is absolutely nothing wrong with Matthew Golden. Green Bay doesn't throw the effing ball enough for him to do anything. The question is, what is wrong with y'all? Having watched this philosophy now for 2 seasons and 4 games, yet still think there's an issue with the players when it comes to passing, receiving volume. So, this goes back to a couple different things. First of all, when he has a very specific theory on this team. First of all, he is very pro all the receivers. It's not just his kid. Let's be clear about that. But I also think there's still bias. And an example of that would be when he said we have, what was it, 3, I think, at the time, 3 wide receiver ones. And it seems as though he still believes that. As he said, when these guys leave, whether it's Dobbs or Wicks or whoever, they're going to go be wide receiver ones and go pop off. I'll say maybe, but no. I'm sorry, I like Wicks. He's a good receiver. He drops aside, he's a good receiver. Do I think he's going to go be some like Puka Nacua somewhere else or something? I know he didn't say that, but you know what I mean. Like a legit wide receiver one. I really don't. Do I think Dobbs can go be a wide receiver one? I mean, maybe on a bad team, but I'm talking like a legit, like this guy's a 1,200 to 1,500 yard receiver. Do I think he could go be the Devontae Adams somewhere else? Not really. No. So there's two main arguments here. This is Christian Watson's dad's theory. And by the way, last year when we couldn't get into a passing rhythm, this was his theory still, and that is a lack of passing volume. We run the ball too much. Now, I already kind of took that head on as being, I guess, kind of an interesting theory because it's different. It's not one that I had really heard anywhere else, so I like different and interesting theories. But I had a hard time kind of coming around to it because even if we run the ball more as a percentage, it's not that big of a difference to where it should cause people to not be able to get into any kind of a rhythm, especially for 4 quarters. You know what I mean? But that is kind of his theory. The Packers run the ball too much so that, number one, there's not enough volume for these guys, and they can't quite get into a rhythm or whatever, and they spread the ball around. Now, there's a secondary kind of theory that I'll get into that I more want to attack head on, but let's talk about this one specifically. So the issue he brings up is volume. And the problem with that is I can pretty quickly dispel that. If the issue is you can't have a wide receiver 1 because of volume, all you have to do is look at the math. If the volume is too low for there to even be a wide receiver 1, then I should be able to look at Jordan Love's passing yards and see that his passing yards are just too low. And the reality is, Jordan Love, if you look on a per-game basis this year, would be 7th in the NFL in passing yards. It's actually quite high. But not only that, because obviously we know that we had a wide receiver 1 with Aaron Rodgers, which is going to be a big part of my complaint with a lot of people talking about, we can't have a wide receiver 1 in this scheme and whatnot. We'll get there. But if I look at Jordan Love in 2023, he threw for 4,624 yards. Now, just right off the bat, the fact that he was skimming around 5,000 yards, I can tell you that's a pretty high number, and it's certainly high enough to have a wide receiver 1. But let's just go ahead and assume that I don't know that, or I can't just use that as a gut feeling, because that's not very decisive. Let's look at Aaron Rodgers. Remember, our standard is 4,624 yards enough of a passing offense to have a wide receiver 1? In 2022, Rodgers last year, he threw for 3,600 yards. The year before that was 43. 2020 was 49, which is 300 more. Then 45, 44, 16, and then 54. Right, 16 was obviously an injury there. But so after 2016, you had 17, 18, 19. Well, let's leave 17 out. 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. 5 years. He did it one time. He had more yards. He also didn't have that many yards in 2015. 2013, he was injured, but didn't have that many yards. 2008, his first year, he didn't have that many yards. And a lot of the other years, he had roughly the same amount of yards. 48, 49, 48, 48. It's a couple hundred yards more. It's certainly not enough to say, well, that's an offense that can have a wide receiver 1, but 200 yards less is certainly not. What Jordan did in 2023 was kind of on the upper end of what Rodgers gave us every year when we a lot of times had wide receiver 1s. And the thing is, we didn't always have wide receiver 1s. It kind of depended on who the wide receivers were. If we had one, then you had one wide receiver 1. If you had multiple, you might have had 1, you might have had 2, you might have had 0 or whatever, depending on the situation. But it was more wide receiver dependent than quarterback dependent, or certainly passing yards dependent. But let's take this theory one step further. Let's look at last year's receivers that were wide receiver 1s, and let's just say a wide receiver 1 is anybody with 1,100 yards or more, right? Let's say you clear semi-comfortably 1,000 yards. So let's go through some of those people. Garrett Wilson in 2024 had Aaron Rodgers as his quarterback, who threw for 3,897 yards. He didn't even hit 4,000. They definitely had a wide receiver 1. How about Bo Nix with Cortland Sutton? Cortland Sutton had 1,156 yards. Bo Nix had 3,900 yards, didn't even hit 4,000. How about Dallas? They had Dak throw for 1,900 and Cooper Rush for 1,800. So, close to 4,000, but under. And obviously not very good quarterback play. But still, CeeDee Lamb was kind of undeterred by that. I mean, he did have slightly less yards, but he still cracked his wide receiver 1 numbers, didn't he? How about this one? Let's look at this madness. Malik Neighbors for the Giants as a rookie, had 1,200 yards. The Giants had Daniel Jones throw for 2,000, Drew Lock for 1,000, and then DeVito 257, Tim Boyle 123. They threw for 3,500 yards. Appallingly low. And yet still, Malik Neighbors was a wide receiver 1 for 1,200 yards. So when we come back to this theory by Christian Watson's dad, it says, Green Bay, there's nothing wrong with Matthew Golden. Green Bay doesn't throw the effing ball enough for him to do anything. I don't really see how that could possibly be the case. It seems to me the yards are there for him to have the yards, because that's what we're talking about, right? We're not really even talking about receptions. I mean, I could go back and do this whole thing all over again with receptions, but it feels unnecessary. The idea that he doesn't have catches and yards because they don't throw the ball enough is silly. The yards have been there. Packers have a lot of yards and a lot of passes. They just haven't really gone to one consolidated place. They've been spread out a lot and not as much to Golden, which is what people are frustrated about. But this whole theory that, well, they just run the ball all the time and they never throw it, so you can't have a wide receiver 1 and you can't have massive numbers and all that because Matt LaFleur just likes to run the ball all the time is weird to me because it's not reflected in reality. And it's this thing where it's like, again, and I've talked about this before, we need an answer. And so we come up with like the first thing that happens in our brain because we need to reconcile it, and then we just lock that in. That's just that's just it. That's it. Like, did you think to look into it at all? Like, prove out your theories. I mean, it's like we live in a world of science where it's like we have theories, and rather than going out and trying to disprove them, doing good science, we do nothing, and we just go, that's it. I figured it out. I had a freaking dream last night, and so that's what I believe. The other thing that I have an annoyance with, and I've seen a lot of different people champion this, is this, again, this just sort of weird idea that we've made up in our mind that it's Matt LaFleur's scheme. Like, we've become scheme experts for Matt LaFleur, and the thing that's annoying about it is it's not like when Clayton or somebody else like breaks down scheme, and it's actually like, here's what's, and it's like this really complex scientific thing that when you sit down, you're like, I don't understand this. Like, I have to go read books on this to understand what we're doing here. And like, it's high level thinking. This is just like we're using the word scheme in a place it doesn't belong. It's like a theory that we have that we're just going to call scheme and then go with that. Or system. Matt LaFleur's system doesn't allow one wide receiver. It requires you to spread the ball around. Says frickin' who? Where are you getting this from? Well, we already know. Matt LaFleur's already talked about it. You mean when he says that constantly asking him and bothering him about wide receiver 1 makes him want to puke? That's how you determine what his system or scheme is? Yes, he's annoyed that they're having success spreading the ball around, and everybody wants to force there to be a wide receiver 1 or wants him to pick his favorite wide receiver all the time. That's not what we're talking about, though. That's not him saying, I refuse to have a wide receiver 1. It sounds to me like he's saying, we don't have one, and I don't care. That doesn't mean we can't allow one in the system. There's a difference between there's a way that we happen to be doing it now, and this is the only way I will ever do it no matter what. Let me just go through this, because the responses I'm getting are absolutely insane to me. And it's surprising how many people are believing this. So let me go through. Let's take a break, because apparently this is going to take a while. We'll take a break. We'll be right back. So again, the idea is Matt LaFleur's scheme does not allow a wide receiver 1. Can't have it. Just doesn't. It's not how it works, man. It just can't happen. Okay. 2019, Devontae Adams, 1,300 yards. The next highest was 500. 2020, 1,500 yards and 838. 2021, 1,600 yards and 519. But Matt LaFleur won't allow a wide receiver 1 in his scheme. Weird. We had 3 straight years of it. One of the biggest, the biggest, if not the only response that I keep getting is, well, that's because of Rodgers, not because of the scheme. Okay. Again, I need you guys to just stop saying things and proving things. Prove this to me. I'm so tired of having to disprove everything, which is not the way that these are supposed to work. If you have a theory, you should have to prove your theory. And instead, people just randomly say things. And then you have to disprove it. And then if you disprove it or provide evidence against it, then they just move the goalpost or shift it over here. Like, well, yeah, but that was Rodgers forcing it against Matt LaFleur's will. That's what happened. So now you adjust your theory a little bit so that you get to keep what you want while still having never done any work to prove out this theory that you believe to begin with. It's so weird how we so strongly believe something we've put no effort in actually deciding whether it's real. This is something that somebody told you that just felt right, and so you believe it, and so you've been saying it, and now you will defend it to the death. Something that flimsy should be able to easily knock you off, or at least if I present something like this, make you pause and go, yeah, I should look into that a little bit more. Instead, we get the insane instant reaction, well, that was Rodgers. Okay, let's test that theory, shall we? I wonder how we could test that theory. What could we do? Man, oh man. Rodgers was the reason for everything. Rodgers ran that scheme. How about this? Before we even get into data, let's just think through this rationally for a second, okay? You have a clear wide receiver one. Devontae's the guy. It's wildly successful. 2019, we had a great offense. 2020, we had the best offense in football. And you want me to believe, legitimately, this is with no evidence that you're providing whatsoever, what you want me to believe right now is that Matt LaFleur was pissed off at the success of his offense because he wanted to force feed Lazard more? That's what you want me to believe. He was so mad that Adams got 1,500 yards and MVS only got 838. Right? We needed Lazard up there to about 800 and then bring Adams down to maybe 900. I mean, this is bull crap. I'm tired of this massive success with this elite receiver. What is it that has you so convinced that what you're saying is true that you would believe something so stupid? Explain this to me. What has been so profoundly impactful in getting you to believe this theory? Who put out a 2-hour-long YouTube video breaking down all the stats and all the schematics of this offense to prove it to you that you are willing to believe something so insane, despite the statistics, despite the fact that it makes no sense whatsoever? You are profoundly convinced of this. I would love to know what massive amount of data you're working with here, because I'm looking at a mountain of stupidity and I'm going, it's going to take a lot to convince me that Matt LaFleur has this scheme that doesn't allow this, that has this scheme that is furious that Devontae was so wildly successful in his scheme. But okay, let's just, because it's not the greatest argument to just say rationally it's stupid, because, maybe he's stupid. Maybe, I don't know. I find that to be a giant hurdle to get over. That's going to require a lot to get me to believe that that is the case and that Rodgers was fighting Matt LaFleur and LaFleur did not want the ball to go to Devontae so much. But what can we do here? So we've got a problem. We've got Devontae. So essentially my theory is Devontae is the reason we had a wide receiver one. In other words, it's wide receiver dependent. If we had a wide receiver now, they would be treated like a wide receiver one. He would be treated like a wide receiver one, right? It's sort of the gap or disparity between the top guy and the next guy after him. That's going to create a disparity in catches and yards and all that kind of stuff. And I don't see that's the other thing. Right now, you're telling me we have a massive gap between all these guys. Who we can't even agree on who it would be. Is it Reed? We have some serious Reed fans. We got some Dobbs fans. We got some Watson fans. We've obviously got a bunch of Golden fans. But I think that's what's kind of caused this is over the years we've convinced ourselves that it's not that we don't have a wide receiver one. It's just that Matt LaFleur won't allow them to thrive, which is stupid on its face because if you have a bunch of wide receiver ones, they can't all be wide receiver ones statistically. You know what I mean? There's enough yards for one guy, not for three guys. Oh, my Lord. But again, is it wide receiver dependent or quarterback dependent? Is the quarterback force feeding the top guy against the quarterback's wishes or the coach's wishes? Or is it the wide receiver that is essentially just getting what he is worth, you know what I mean? Because it makes sense to throw it to him. We throw it to him a lot. Boy, if there was only a way that we could test this. Oh, I have an idea. 2022. Rodgers, no Devontae. That was one of the responses I got from Carboy84. He says, oh, please, those are AR stats, which is pretty much what everybody said. But then he says, which I think completely proves my point, 2022, Lazard, 788, Watson, 611, Tunyon, 470, Dobbs, 2, we don't have to go through all of them. 2023, same thing. 2024, same thing. He says, the question might be whether the Packers even had a wide receiver 1 to pepper, but let's use recent stats, please. And it's like, I don't think you realize you just proved my point. I said, yes, after Davante left, the ball was spread out. Great catch. Who is our quarterback in 2022? You can't tell me that it was Aaron Rodgers that did it. Again, you have a lot to prove here, and the best evidence you have so far is that the quarterback is responsible for it, despite the fact that in 2022, when the same quarterback was here, the ball was spread out to the wide receivers, many of which overlap with our current wide receivers, by the way. Watson as a wide receiver 1. Oh, interesting. How did that go with Rodgers? Did Rodgers force feed him the ball the way he did Davante? Did he do that with Dobbs the way he did with Davante? No, he did not. Why? If this is a Matt LaFleur thing and not a Rodgers thing, why in 2022 did the ball get evenly distributed? And why has that continued, not changed? It didn't change when Love took over. It changed when Davante left. Hello? Some other comments. That wasn't part of LaFleur's scheme. A lot of it was Rodgers checking out of plays or force-feeding Adams. Based on what? Again, I need you guys to start proving stuff to me. You can't just come up with these stupid theories and not have any evidence whatsoever. Just because everybody knows. It's just not his scheme. It's not his scheme. That's not how his scheme works. Okay, we'll get there, but good Lord. I think everyone can agree that Rodgers had a pretty big influence on how the offense was run. Yes, he did. In fact, that was another thing somebody else commented on. So down here, somebody says, how much of that is influenced by Rodgers, you think? My response, how much do I think Rodgers wanted the ball to go to an elite wide receiver? Probably a lot. That isn't the point. The point is, do you really believe LaFleur was mad about it? That is the point. It's not about Rodgers. It's about LaFleur. You're making the case. All of these people, and many people probably listening, are making the case. And if you're digging in your heels right now, you better have a really good reason for this. And not just people have been saying it on social media for a long time. Everybody knows it. No, they don't. And if you think you heard Matt LaFleur talk about it, make sure you go back and find it and get the context. Because again, remember, him supporting the idea of spreading the ball out because of the wide receivers we have now. In other words, it is what any coach would do in a situation where you have a pile of 2s. There's no reason to elevate a 1 when there's not one that's significantly above the other. And you can prove that simply by going to the fan base and asking them, who's our wide receiver 1? We can't even agree. Do you think we would have a conflict back in 2021 or 2020 or 2019 about who our wide receiver 1 was? I don't know. I think it's that Dobbs guy. I think he's better than Davante. Zero people in the world said that. So there is no quote anywhere in the world. There is no scheme that says you cannot have a wide receiver 1. This is all low resolution nonsense. This is we're taking this tiny little piece. Well, he runs a spread offense. Bro. Oh. Yeah, he likes to spread it out. He likes to spread everything out. So first of all, you're taking a single word and are completely misapplying what the heck we're talking about here. No. He said he wants to spread it out. He said there's a lot of mouths to feed. Yes, there are a lot of mouths to feed. And he says that in response to people complaining about how many yards certain people are getting. He's like, yeah, dude, there's a lot of mouths to feed. Chill out. It's his way of saying, shut up, stupid. That's it. That's all it is. 2 more points on this. Very simply, because this whole thing is so unbelievably stupid. Let's talk about this scheme. This scheme does not allow a wide receiver 1, right? Where does he come from? Where does his scheme come from? You could say Kyle Shanahan if you wanted to. But where was he actually the offensive coordinator? Before he went to Tennessee, where was he the offensive coordinator? It was with the Rams. So he runs a similar scheme to the Rams, correct? Does anybody know if the Rams have a wide receiver 1? Just curious. Can somebody check in, see what the Rams are doing over there? I just want to know if they're allowed to have a wide receiver 1 if the scheme doesn't allow it. Because what's interesting is it seems like anywhere you go, you can kind of determine whether or not they have a wide receiver 1 based on the wide receivers. Well, the 49ers don't really have one. Right, because they have like 2 number 1s. So it's spread across usually two different guys, whether it's Ayuk or Debo or Ayuk or frickin' tight end guy. Sometimes it's a three-way tie. It's whatever. Yeah, it gets spread around a little bit more. Sometimes they have 2,000-yard guys or 1, 2, 3, whatever. Right. But again, wide receiver dependent. When the Rams didn't have Puka, they didn't have Puka. And then when they got Puka, suddenly, wide receiver 1. It's not so much the coach or the scheme or even the quarterback. It seems to always follow the wide receiver. So freaking weird. When the Minnesota Vikings got Justin Jefferson, suddenly, boom! Regardless of scheme, regardless of coach, regardless of quarterback, massive wide receiver 1. Just comes in breaking records. And then they had like nobody else, right? It was wide receiver 1, then a big drop-off. And then they got another guy who's not as good. He's more of a solid number 2, maybe a low-end number 1. He started getting solid number 2, low-end number 1 numbers. And Justin Jefferson still started getting wide receiver 1 numbers. That's so weird. How receivers just seem to get what they get based on how good they are. And that trend even happens here in Green Bay with Matt LaFleur, despite the fact that we are this unique island that doesn't exist anywhere else, even in places that run basically the same scheme. Strangely, it's happened here as well. The last time we had a wide receiver 1, he had wide receiver 1 numbers. And then when he left, the ball got spread around a bunch, across a bunch of guys that are roughly equally skilled. That's so weird. Lastly, I'd like to introduce this into the record, Your Honor. This is right after Devontae left. So it's 2022, and Mariucci and Stacey Dales are sitting down with Matt LaFleur, and there's a little bit of conversation. But here's what Matt LaFleur had to say.
That's a great question. I think every play on our call sheet was designed for Devontae Adams.
I think everyone, yeah.
So, no, you know what? We've got a lot of great players.
Okay. Now, that little tongue-in-cheek, obviously, but again, unless he's just flat out lying and he tried to spread the ball out and Rodgers just refused and then he's just taking credit for it, which, I mean, why would you take credit if you think it's a bad thing? And if you acknowledge that it needs to take credit because it was a good thing, then why wouldn't you do it? You know, like it doesn't, none of this makes any sense from a conspiratorial lens of how this could actually be a bad thing. Matt LaFleur is saying basically every play was designed to go to Devontae. So it wasn't just Rodgers forced it against his will. Matt LaFleur had an elite player, and he knew that in order to be successful, the best thing to do is find ways to get the ball in his hands. And I can't speak for everybody, but a lot of this, one of the back and forths I've been having with somebody is there's a lot of fear about Matthew Golden. That Matthew Golden is this elite player, and we're never going to allow him to do it. It's kind of like this notion of we're holding back Jordan Love. Matt LaFleur's holding back Jordan Love. He's holding, like, what are you talking about? Every time Jordan Love doesn't have a good day, it's because Matt LaFleur's holding him back. And then the next week he comes out and every throw is a 50-yard bomb. And then we just don't talk about it again. And 3 weeks later he has a bad day. Oh, Matt LaFleur's holding him back. He's got to let him cut loose. Bro, Jordan Love is the most cut-loose quarterback in the history of the world. What are we talking about? It's just these weird theories that just pop up, and it always comes back to somehow Matt LaFleur is conspiring against his own team. He's holding back Golden. He's holding back Love. He's holding back this passing offense. He's holding back everything. He's just holding everything back. If he wasn't just there as this like restrictor play, we would just be scoring 50 points a game. Our defense would allow roughly 2 points a game, and that's it. But he's just holding everything back. He's just holding it back, man. Of course, he's holding it back until he's too aggressive. And then he's got to hold it back more. Why is every play on third down a 50-yard pass? Why are you using all the trick plays? Why? I want you to hold it back more, Matt. And then sometimes I want you to stop holding anything back, but also hold it all back. We don't know what we're talking about, and we got to stop making stuff up, or at the very least put in a disclaimer that I don't know, but it kind of feels like, or I wonder if. All I can say is relax. Essentially, this is unfolding similar to how I thought it was going to unfold. Again, it's taking a little longer than I would have expected. But as I said, it's going to take time. The idea that Golden's just going to come in and be like, boom, he's Devontae. Go feed him, force feed him 24/7, which was the quote that somebody threw in my face where Matt LaFleur said that we don't really like to force feed guys here. Okay, fair enough. But I'm not really asking you to force feed any more than I was asking you to force feed Devontae back in the day. You didn't really have to force feed him. Sometimes Rodgers did, and for good reason. But you can still put him at the top of the sheet. You can still design an offense where that first read or the design is to go to Golden. And if it doesn't go there, it could go to the second guy or the third guy or whatever, or go to the check down. It's whatever. Right now, we don't have an offense built around Golden. And one of the things I've said is that the complication is that Matt LaFleur doesn't know who to build this offense around. And the idea, again, I don't know, but I think one of the problems is that he's trying to find an identity, and we can't because everything keeps fluctuating. We want to build it around Reed, and then Reed gets hurt, and Tucker, but, I don't know. It depends on the opponent, and Watson, but then Watson gets hurt, and you can't just ever nail down this sort of identity. And although that everybody's got to do that sometimes, Matt LaFleur just seems to have never been able to. And I'm sure he would love for this to be built more around Josh Jacobs, but his offensive line can't block, which is why they tried to improve it, but that didn't work. And so we can't have like a running the ball identity necessarily, and, trying to do certain things. We're struggling to nail things down. I genuinely believe that Golden has the talent to be more of a focal point. That doesn't mean no Dobbs or Wicks or Watson or Reed or Tucker. We have too many guys with too much talent, which is part of the equation here. The Rams have Puka Nacua, who's probably better than anybody we have. However, they also don't have secondary guys that are as good as the guys we have. Granted, they do have Devontae, but that's kind of late stage Devontae. All right, let's say Devontae is up there with like our other guys, but that's it. They don't have anybody else. They don't have really tight ends. They don't have like a Josh Jacobs type of guy. I'm not saying it's all terrible. I'm just saying that it's a different situation. But can we have a wide receiver one? Yes. Can we get a guy with 1,100 yards and 10 touchdowns? Absolutely. Do I believe Golden can be that guy? I do believe that. Do I believe Matt LaFleur will allow it? Yes, I do. Do I believe that Golden or that Love would never go away from Matt LaFleur's scheme at all and to sort of quote-unquote force feed again? No, I don't. In fact, I think he force feeds Dobbs quite a bit. I think we've seen that because he has trust, and that's what all quarterbacks do. When the chips are down and when the game's on the line, sometimes things fall apart. You go to your go-to guy, and right now that's Dobbs, and that's part of the thing that's going to hold back Golden. It's not just LaFleur magically or arbitrarily deciding to put a restrictor on Golden and say, you suck, you don't get the ball. It's also the fact that right now Dobbs is Love's guy, not Golden. And I will expect that to take time. If that change ever happens, Dobbs may continue to stay his guy, but we'll have to see how it goes. At the end of the day, it's somewhat of a stupid argument just because we all are generally on the same team. We all kind of want the same thing, maybe to slight varying degrees. It's just these random angry conspiracy theories that Matt LaFleur is preventing this amazing thing from happening completely arbitrarily because he's got some scheme thing that doesn't allow it. That's fake. That's fake. He's entirely content for things to be the way that it is. He doesn't have any desire to force feed one of these guys over the other. That's entirely true. That doesn't mean if Matthew Golden emerges and is a top 5 wide receiver that he's going to prevent him from getting 1,200 yards because he's just so opposed to guys getting more yards than others. That's fake. All right? All right. Let's take a break. We'll see what else we got going on here. I know there is some little bit of laughing at the enemy type content, so maybe we'll just do that. We'll see how it goes. We'll take a break. We'll be right back. All right, so let's have a little chat about the Detroit Lions here. The Lions are a funny bunch, man. They have truly embraced this being on top thing. You would think there would have been some kind of a transition, but man, once they became the best team in the division, it's like they had been doing it for 20 years. They've got all the entitlement and everything else that goes with it, and they really don't handle losses very well. And so part of what's hilarious is watching them just scream and slither and just have a meltdown for a week rather than spend any time focusing on the upcoming matchup, looking back and just losing their mind. But why don't we go ahead and start with this? Here's a nice, fun little recap. Shout out to Nate for providing his TikToks as well as a few other things I found. We'll see what we can get through. But here is here's a little taste of a Lions fan watching the game. These are always so much fun.
Golf, turn me up. Oh, yeah, that's free money. Let's do that, Laporta. Get on the field. Get him off me. Get him off me. Oh, golf all the time in the world. Let's go. Jameson, this might be your game. Oh, my God. The slot. Oh, yeah. Oh, my God. You better make me nuts. Woo. Locked in. You got 3 loaded up back there. Who are they going with? They're going with Gibbs. He's short. Are we going Knuckles? Oh, my God. Oh, holy bro, Jared Goff, you're about to give me a fucking heart attack, you animal. I'm so glad you hit that shit, though. Ah, yeah. Yeah, that's how we start. Yes, we have Montgomery in fantasy, bro. Oh, my Lord. Hey, that's QB1. Oh. No fun league, man. It's getting a little fishy. But, all right.
So that's the first touchdown. And a lot of fans furious about that call. They got a touchdown, then they called illegal motion. How dare you? You're in this for the Chiefs, but whatever. I guess we'll settle for a field goal, but I'm already starting to think it's fishy.
All right, 3-0. Whatever, man. Get Kelsey's old the down, bro. What is this?
Again in that game early in a drive. And why do you do that? Because this defensive line of the Lions, they're all jacked.
You can't see the video, but he's just slumped in his chair. It's still 3-0. He's about ready to give up.
No, bro, 3rd and 8, 3rd and 8.
Catch and run. But Brian Branch, who honestly, Mike, as we were watching.
Nice, good tackle.
Fourth down this year. And they'll go.
Fake me up.
Got it for Worthy.
Touchdown. He's not happy.
Third game back has been good, and that's been happening across the game. Butker has struggled with a lot of that sort of.
Air it out, Golf. Air it out, Golf.
A lot of nonverbal.
Nice. Let's go. Knuckles. 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 Damn, he's holding like a motherfucker. Oh, my God. 3rd and 3. Golf. Yes! Jambo! Have a fucking bumper car him into the end zone. Yeah. Appreciate you, KC. Smack that hoe. Let's do that. You're not the Lions. You're not the Lions. Yeah, of course. God damn.
Because of some of the coverages they see too.
Yeah, nice. Get the ball. Get the ball. Oh. Hell no. Hell no. Punt that fucking ball.
Simply goes for the ball. He's been doing a good one. He is, right? He's the guy that you would.
Nice. Let's go.
Stopped him on 4th.
Moving.
Still 10-6. Lions got the ball.
Gibbs.
Big run.
Oh my.
Yeah.
Drop the ball. He's not happy.
Coming from right
Jeez. Chiefs got the ball.
Yes.
Overthrow.
Oh,
and a flag.
Oh, that couldn't be more fucking free. You old expecting that damn Pacheco run. Oh, look at this guy. Flag though. Flag though. Send him back.
Touchdown.
Please.
Flag. Nope. It sticks.
Oh, brother.
Terrible throw by Detroit.
Damn.
Chiefs again.
What? Look, and it lag. And it lag. We know it's a damn tutty, bro.
Because they're hitting some passes down there. You have those opportunities for the and he's weaving his way.
2010
nice,
Chiefs.
nice. I'm on, bro. Golf, you have
this game and for a backup.
Oh, did he get that? Oh my God! Oh.
Touchdown.
Holy tap on that motherfucker. Oh, what a beast! What a beast, Laporta. Get on his. Damn, bro, what the Worthy? Well, we're here on 1st and goal again. And Pacheco's Tourette is fucking storming through already. We're gonna go. Block up on him. Block up on him. Get it.
Touchdown, Chiefs.
Yeah, this is we're running out of time. We have to strike now, bro. This is the only time.
Sacked on 3rd down. Chiefs kick return.
Oh, yo, bro.
Punt return.
Bro, come on, man. Ah, yeah, it's
Chiefs
actually
convert.
like I can't. Bro, it's looking like it's over now. Now it looks like it's over.
Oof.
Bro, come on, man. Yo, I'm about to turn this off, bro. Damn. At the point where we're just
Not the
watching
3rd down
watch,
conversion.
It would literally take miracles to. I mean, they're gonna
Sacked
get 30,
them on 3rd, but
17,
3 minutes
Let's
left
go
down
give us another
10.
miracle.
Chiefs go up 30-17. And another drop.
What is happening? What is happening? Hello?
Here's the
What
fight.
is going on? I turned away for 2 seconds. I was about to make the outro. Listen, I don't know what happened, but GG's Chiefs. You played the better game. I can't even lie. I apologize.
All right. I didn't know if he was going to see the fight at the end there and have some commentary. So it's great hearing all that, but it's also kind of important to listen to the context of what happened, especially from a guy that's not whining about the refs the entire time. You know, it's just they converted on third down and you couldn't stop them. That happened like 15 times, not because of penalties. A lot of things happened, not because of penalties. There were a couple things that happened with penalties that influenced things. Let's also remember it was 30-17. It's not 30-27. In those games, I'm a little bit more sympathetic to the referee situation. Of course, it's fun to pile on the Chiefs with their referee thing, so I kind of want to let the Lions have at it. But let's be very clear, you got your teeth kicked in. This wasn't close. And again, kudos to this guy for essentially coming out and saying, hey, look, GG, you guys won. Fair and square, you were the better team, right? But not everybody's handling it that way necessarily. You could say there's different schools of thought on how that game went and should have gone. Some people handle it, by crying a little bit. You know, sometimes you just got to let it out.
Well, there's no way we're letting this fucking guy score! My God, he's fucking trash!
Some people like to blame the refs.
On this play right here, we get the touchdown. And these niggas, they huddle after the touchdown and take the touchdown away. Which y'all should have just called the flag before the touchdown. Which if y'all did it right, refs. Alright, come on. All you had to do was call the flag before the touchdown. Y'all didn't just call it after the touchdown.
Think about that. How confident.
Which is a big controversy, apparently. If you wait until after they score and then penalize someone, that's against the rules. I don't know if you knew that. Here's the good old boys over at Woodward Sports Network.
But an official that makes a mistake, a blatant mistake, that can cost people games and turn the entire flow of a game, never has to be accountable, but an 18-year-old...
By the way, I love when people play that game. It changes the whole flow. Yeah, we lost by like 17, but you don't understand. Like, if that didn't happen, then the flow and the momentum, like, that's a stretch, dude. That's a stretch. Okay, and I don't know if I can excuse that anyways, because if you can't bounce back, if your just whole team crumbles because, oh, that made me sad and the momentum got sucked out of my soul, well, then maybe you suck and deserve to lose.
Year-old kid does?
That's bullshit.
Like, what kind of system is that, man? For what kind of system? Why don't these officials have to talk to the media like everybody else does and answer for their mistakes? Why do they not? Why are they protected? Yeah. Why does no one care to make it that way? Why are they always protected? Why? They're grown adults. Why? These are multi-billion-dollar industries. These are economic ecosystems. Yeah. And they are the ones that determine the flow of it, and they're not held accountable ever. Bull. Take them to the podium.
Yeah,
like
seriously.
the coach has to. What did you see? Why did you make that call?
Why did the flag take so long to come out?
Yeah.
Right, after you called it a
so
touchdown.
they can stand up there and go, I don't know. Thank you. That's the answer I was looking for. Get somebody else. You got these 65-year-old men out there trying to keep up with the greatest athletes in the world.
By the way, I'm not going to get into the part where I agree with half of that. The point is, it's hilarious, the whining. And just so we're clear, this was not posted the day of. This was posted today for me, which would be Thursday. Okay? Thursday. So it's been a while that we've already talked about the referees. I mean, I don't know what the limitations are on that for when I think you should probably move on. But I think beyond a day or two, granted, listen, I think the refs are appallingly bad. I cannot stand how bad they are. I don't disagree with a lot of that. And obviously, we've got our beef right now with the Micah situation, which I tend to think is different. It's different than there were 2 calls I disagree with, and we lost by 13. Okay, you don't get to talk about it anymore. You have to stop that conversation. If Packer fans want to talk about the fact that, hey, our guy gets held on every play and he's kind of the key to our entire freaking defense, I mean, listen, maybe I'm biased, but I feel like that's something that, if that was happening to Hutchinson, you talk about that as much as you want. Because it's not just a question of last week. It's not even about we lost or we won, because it's not... This is, we're screwed if you don't fix this. This is last week. It's also next week. I'm genuinely concerned that our game against the Cardinals is going to be hampered quite a bit because our pass rushers are being choked around the neck. There is a... I'm just going in and supporting the video now about the refs, but there was a play that somebody posted, and everybody gets mad. Oh, you don't post a screenshot, but sometimes it really does encapsulate things. I couldn't find Micah Parsons' head in this clip. I don't know where it is. I can see the guy's arm, and I see that Micah's bent backward. I don't see Micah Parsons' head. His head must be touching his spine. It's bent back so far. I don't know what he had to do to get a back injury, but if that guy can do that kind of stuff and just be fine and keep on rocking, he must have got hit by a freaking truck. Anyways, there's also, similar to blaming the refs, is the conspiracy theory that Vegas is calling into the game and saying, recall that play, please.
Vegas just made that call. They are cheating for the Chiefs. Jared Goff just scored a touchdown catch. They try to say illegal motion, which is BS. The only reason why is because it's the Kansas City Chiefs. Look, they were discussing it because they ain't never seen nothing like that. How you going to call that a bad play? That's a good play, man. Vegas made it.
I don't think the critique is that it was a bad play. Refs come out and they're like, it's a bad play. I don't like it. Stupid. Do it over.
That call, man. Here they go. Look, this is when Vegas made the call right here. Listen. Illegal motion? How is that illegal motion? How is that illegal motion, man? Look, they cheating. They cheating already. Come on, man. Y'all trying to rob Dan Campbell, man. Only the Kansas City Chiefs get these calls. Look, everybody confused, man. Look at that. That's a good play. How is this illegal motion? You went up and lined up behind the line of scrimmage. Get out of here.
The ref literally explained it. The quarterback never got set. He came out from from under center and ran laterally, and their explanation is he never got set. If that's not the rule, I don't know what kind of nuances they have with quarterback. It's a wild play, but it's pretty crystal clear, and you can see it in the replay. Yeah, he's just running as the ball gets snapped. So if the penalty is you have to be set because he's a receiver now and he wasn't set, yeah, that's 100,000% a penalty.
Come on, man. Y'all let me know in the comments. Is that illegal motion or not? I don't think.
It's funny, too, because he was mad about it before they showed the replay. He had no idea. He was mad before he even knew what the penalty was. He just saw there was a flag, and he said, Vegas is doing this, which is another critique that I don't understand. Maybe I don't understand Vegas. I know it's pretty complicated, and I've tried to look into it a lot, and I got a little closer to understanding it and then forgot all of it already. It is very interesting, especially if you're kind of a math and money person, which I tend to like both. But there's a lot of nuance, and there's a lot of things that are you really got to get down. There's like a beginning stage of understanding the basics, and then there's like a big jump if you want to get to that next step. It's kind of like film breakdown in a little bit, where you can be like a casual fan and observe and know some basic terms. If you want to get to that next level, it's a lot of work. And that's why I generally don't make that leap, because it's just completely unnecessary unless I want to get into that realm of things and start doing breakdown videos or something. But I would love to know what people are talking about with Vegas. Like, Vegas wins either way, right? Like, oh, look, I would have covered the spread if that field goal, but then he missed it, and he did that on purpose because it's rigged for Vegas. They're just trying to make money. It's $1 billion industry. I don't think you understand how they make money, dude. They're gonna make money. It's fine. You think they're betting on one side or the other? They're just making money on the fact that you're betting. Somebody's gonna win and a bunch of other people are gonna lose, and that's where they're gonna get their money from. I think Vegas will be all right, man, without some massive conspiracy that they're rigging the entire NFL. Anyways, we also have this. Lions fans are kind of like Packer fans. When things are good, everybody is elite. When things are bad, apparently everybody sucks. So it's hard to put your finger on the pulse. Like, I thought you liked this guy. I'm a little confused.
As we go to Dave in Ann Arbor next. Hi, Dave.
What it comes down to for me is Jameson Williams, man. What is going on? This guy has dropped every pass that is his way. And it's like, I know he's having a bad season, right?
I don't know what you're talking. I'm sorry, did J-Mo drop a pass against the Chiefs?
Yeah, He's been dropping them all season.
Did he drop? I don't recall him dropping passes against the Chiefs. I recall him making plays all over the place.
He was targeted 7 times and had 6 receptions.
You don't think it's been a problem this
No,
season?
no, I don't. I don't think it's been a problem at all.
Yeah, I agree to disagree because I really think that he's just an overrated player at this point that we could be used as a tool to trade.
Yeah, well, they signed him to a contract. They gave him the extension, and he's going to be here for a minute. Look, I mean, when you say he's a problem, I look at the guy as a problem. Okay, is that why they lost the game? Did they lose to the Packers because Jameson Williams didn't catch passes? He caught 4 out of 5. Did they lose to Kansas City because he didn't catch passes? He caught 6 out of 7 targets, and I don't think either one of those games
I found his
was
drop
a drop.
numbers this year. How many drops do you think he has this year, Dave?
I think he has about 6, correct?
He has 2.
So maybe there's overthrown passes that I'm seeing.
Maybe you just don't like Jameson Williams.
No, I love Jameson Williams.
I love Jameson Williams.
From just watching the game, the numbers that we're paying him, I don't see it click. I don't see it. I'm going to be honest here. I lost some bets on.
I love this so much because I feel like I'm glad I'm not on the receiving end of this. I'm glad that they have to listen to this, people getting mad at stuff, and it's like, you guys are... I'm just glad it's over there. Because this is what happens. When anything bad happens, a single loss, suddenly we really gotta take a hard look at this guy. We gotta take a hard look at that guy. And look, Jameson has not really produced. It's been a very weird thing. His first 2 seasons, he didn't really do anything. Year 3 was the first year he had an opportunity, which was last year in 2024, to actually kind of do something. And it went well. He got to 1,000 yards, 75 grade, 75 receiving, right? There's nothing wrong with that. So far this year, he has 289 yards. He does have 100-yard game. Otherwise, he doesn't. Well, this past game, he had 66. No other 50-yard games. 64 grade, 66 receiving. 4 out of his 6 games have not graded out very well. And so I think generally what's happening and what the radio hosts are picking up on is that the fan base probably has this general frustration because they set the bar very high. This is an elite number 2 guy. He's a speed guy. I mean, it's kind of like we feel about Watson. You know, eventually he's going to be that guy, but he's always out because of suspensions or injuries or whatever. Not Watson with suspensions, but kind of similar in that way. Deep speed guy, uber talented, and you kind of got a glimpse last year, and so far this year it just has not been there. And so in his mind, he has 6 drops. He has 2, and both of them were against Cleveland. So he has 0 in 5 of his 6 games, including this Kansas City game that he thought he had drops all over the place. And I think it's kind of emblematic of fan bases in general. When we're upset, we see so much negative everywhere. And it's funny looking at other fan bases because it feels more stupid. When it's us doing it, it seems rational because we're upset and emotional. When you listen to it's like, as a Packer fan, and I don't like the Lions, but they're a good team, and they're going to have a good record, and they're going to be in the playoffs. It's not 100%, but it's like 85, 90%. They're going to be okay. They're going to be fine, pending even more catastrophic injury news. And it's going to have to be somebody on offense for once, because their whole defense is always hurt. But they're going to be fine. So when I listen to this, it's like, you pathetic losers, dude. Like, Jameson's fine. You've got Amon-Ra. You've got a solid tight end. You've got an amazing running back combo. Your offensive line took a step back, but it's still a good O-line. This guy's not your problem. He's fine for what he is, which is a number 2, especially as a deep speed threat that can threaten, other teams' coverages. But the fan base starts spiraling, man, and they're just grasping. They're trying again. They're doing that thing where you're trying to find answers. And people start finding some weird stuff. Jameson is the problem. All right. And usually, and this is, again, the radio hosts were kind of picking up on, usually it's someone you kind of don't like already. That's why, like, if people are on the fence about Matt LaFleur when things go wrong, boom, Matt LaFleur. He's doing something wrong. If people don't like Jordan, guess what happens when the team loses a game? Jordan ain't it, man. He's missing too many throws. That pick cost us the whole game. He's not the answer, right? If you don't like Gutekunst, it's the roster. Oh, nice job with Micah Parsons. That was stupid. You went out and got these offensive linemen, and it's not fixing anything. You can't do anything with the it's we already have our things locked and loaded that frustrate us, and we're very happy to try to make up an excuse of what exactly the problem is, and it's surprise, surprise, usually going to be the thing that we've already decided we don't like. All right, final hilarious thing for the Detroit Lions that they're very upset about, aside from just random people that they decided that they start hating because they lost a game, is this situation.
And he's not going to make it. So Brian Branch pulls up, okay? He pulls up because Mahomes is going to score.
Doesn't need to light him up and get a penalty.
Yeah. He pulls up and he
pulls up because he's a great dude. Brian Branch is not going to hit somebody unnecessarily. He's a great human being.
He slightly bumps him. Patrick Mahomes turns and looks at Brian Branch, spins the football at his feet, points in his face, gestures again, flexes, and runs off the field. 4 taunts. 4. That's 15. 15 more, 15 more, and 15 more.
Hit him with 60 yards.
60-yard penalty.
Yeah.
He taunted him 4 times. Did he get flagged? No. You know, Brian Branch has shown up on the NFL's game day accountability list more than any other player this year. This will be his 4th time. One of his accountability penalties for the very random amount of $11,593 was for taunting, okay? Mahomes taunted Branch 4 times on the touchdown when Branch pulled up and could have lit him up.
Do you think that we will see this week on the accountability list, when they start handing out the fines for the week, Juju Smith-Schuster will get fined for his hit on Brian Branch that was unflagged? Because they will fine you for stuff that was unflagged.
Yes.
And do you think that Patrick Mahomes will get flagged for taunting?
I don't know.
He's not going to get flagged 4 times for the same taunt. But
no, he should.
Yeah, so they're very upset about this. Brian Branch, first of all, lots of restraint. But, I mean, it's very obvious why he didn't shake Pat Mahomes' hand, because Patrick Mahomes taunted him 4 times, directly at Brian Branch. Not like this is my touchdown dance and you're in my frickin' face. Like, he pointed in his face and then he flexed right. He bumped chest to chest and flexed. Like, look at these muscles. You little baby boy, look at my muscles. And it's not because of the very late bump after he got into the end zone here. Here he goes. He's on the little boot thing. He's in. Touchdown, right? He's already across, right? Brian Branch. And not only does he bump him, by the way, it's not even a bump. So to be clear, what exactly happens here, Brian Branch hooks, so he runs past him. He hooks his arm around Mahomes, who's already mid-celebration right now. He's jumping, doing the belt thing. He's already over. Everybody's done. Branch grabs him by the arm and flips him around and spins him. So Mahomes, who's staring at him now because he was spun around by Branch, throws it down, not at his feet, at his own feet. Doesn't go anywhere near his feet. He backs up. He points, probably at Branch, because you freaking hit me, but you're a douche. Good luck. And then he does his normal thing, which is brushing himself off and flexing. I don't think in any it's the NFL, so who knows? I mean, they could throw flags for anything. But that's absurd. If anything, it was the late hit by Branch was the more unacceptable part. But they're very upset because Branch inadvertently just walked into him, right? Inadvertently. And then Mahomes, he chucked it as hard as he could right at his feet. And he's a quarterback, so he can break your foot. You don't even understand. He'll break your foot with the football. He didn't even care. He was reckless. Then what does he do? He points right in his frickin' eye, but he points and he spits at him, I think. He spits in his face and he pokes him in the eye, and then he flexes and says, look at these muscles, baby boy. You little baby back punk. Kiss my muscles. Let's go right now. And he spit in his face again and he ran off. They're very unhappy. Oh boy, now I got Christian Watson's dad and Aaron Nagler chiming in on my post. I'm just going to back out graciously. I want none of that smoke. I don't want it. I don't need it. I shouldn't even be posting on social media. I have a podcast to express my views. I don't need to be freaking starting crap on social media. I need to just keep it on the podcast. I don't want none of that smoke, man. You know what I mean? I'm good. I'm just going to stay in my own little corner and keep my mouth shut. Anyways, last thing with Brian Branch. Hilariously, I don't know if you saw this. The decision came down to suspend him for a game for his conduct, where at the end of the game, he decided Juju Smith-Schuster should be punched in the face. Now, apparently, Juju's kind of a scumbag, and this is a very well-known thing. And when you mix a guy like Juju, who's kind of a scumbag and who was kind of roughing up Brian Branch all game, considering Brian Branch's known history and the Lions' kind of general demeanor about things, this was always going to happen. But it's funny because he has no self-control, and now they have no defense whatsoever. Their secondary is just completely obliterated. But he ends up getting a 1-game suspension, and guess who this got sent to determine whether this should be upheld or overturned? Mr. Jordy Nelson. So Lions fans have to sit and watch as a former Green Bay Packer gets to decide whether the Lions get their guy back or if the suspension is upheld. Take a wild guess what Jordy decided. Now listen, it's a hilarious little footnote. Jordy's the nicest freaking guy in the world. He's out there on his tractor just having a good time. He's not trying to crap on the Lions for no good reason. The suspension was the right thing to do. It should have been upheld, but it is still hilarious. It would have been funnier if it was like Mike Daniels or something, because then it would have just been like, yeah, stick it to him. But I'm still going to pretend that it was done out of spite because it's hilarious. And also, I was promised, Mr. Blaine, and you failed me. Apparently, I gotta find it real quick, and then we're done. Okay, I found it. Okay, here we go. Here's Brian Branch talking about Louis Riddick breaks down Brian Branch's rough night that led up to his game actions. Here's Brian Branch.
I'm tired of people doing stuff in between the play and refs don't catch it. Like, they be trying to bully me out there. And I don't
So apparently the move, I'm not on Reddit, but apparently the NFC North Reddit or whatever is a lot of like memeing back and forth and whatnot. And anytime a Lions fan is saying anything, the meme is they're trying to bully me. It's so hilarious. They're picking on me. I'm tired of everybody picking on me. All right, let's get out of here. I got a request. It's a very good request. I feel like I almost thought I tried it once before, maybe a long time ago, but we're going to try it again. The suggestion comes from Brooke, and she would like, actually, her last suggestion was awful. It was a boy band, and we honored that. Please don't ever request that again. This time, the request is Jimmy Buffett, and I'm absolutely down for that. So we're going to try to do some Lions fans crying in the style of, by the way, bonus points if you guys can tell. The last 2 weeks has been pretty, or the last 2 songs, yesterday's, whatever, were actually pretty obvious. For example, one of them was The Police. I felt like that was pretty spot on. The other one, I keep forgetting the name of the song. Was it Dreams or something? It's funny because like the intro kind of sounds like it. Like, oh, that's oh no, never mind, it's not. But that was the inspiration for that. All right. This is going to be Pirate Looks at 40. Jimmy Buffett is the style. And we're going to go ahead and do a Crybaby Lions song. See how it goes. Y'all have a good rest of your day, and I will talk to you tomorrow. Have a good one. Bye-bye.
Mother, Mother Ocean, I can hear Detroit calling from a bar in Allen Park where the blue runs deep. Yes, I am a Lions fan, been one since the 70s. Watch Sanders run for magic while the refs were all asleep. I've seen 1,000 Sundays, watched them all slip away, like Megatron retiring in his prime. The zebras throw their flags, but only when we're winning. Been watching this same movie for a lifetime. Yes, I am a Lions fan, 60 years behind me, where it all went wrong, Lord, I can't see. I've done my time in Fort Field, done my time believing, but this old heart can't take much more betrayal. Much more betrayal. That Sunday against Kansas City, Branch got ejected, while Mahomes did his taunting dance for free. Jordy Nelson sitting pretty, upholding that suspension. Guess a Packer's gonna pack when no one sees. They called a touchdown proper, then they took it right back. Said golf was in motion illegally. I've sailed through all these seasons with my Honolulu blue on, but the league won't let us have our dignity. Yes, I am a Lions fan, 60 years behind me, where it all went wrong, Lord, I can't say. I've done my time in Ford Field, done my time believing, but this old heart can't take much more betrayal. Can't take much more. Mother, Mother Lake Shore, won't you cool this anger down? I've watched Green Bay get every call since I was 10. Since I was 10. The trophy case sits empty in the hall of broken dreams, and I'm too old to start this dance again. So here I sit in August with my season tickets ready, though I know how this story's gonna end. They'll find a way to break us when we're one game from the playoffs. Some phantom holds some flag that's never been. But I'll be here next September with my jersey and my beer, 'cause a Lions fan don't know no other way. No other way. Yes, I am a Lions fan, 60 years behind me, where it all went wrong, Lord, I can't say. I've done my time in Ford Field, done my time believing, this old heart can't take much more betrayal. Just a Lions fan, looking at 48.